candidates. Thank you. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Catherine Uvhagen, toko ingoa. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to you all this evening on behalf of Lake Taupō Rotary President Noel Rogers, who's indisposed. My name is Catherine Uvhagen, and I'm your moderator for this evening. Steve will now say a karakia. Tai kie. I'd like to thank the Taupō District Council for providing the venue tonight, and to Fi Smith for managing the Great Lakes Centre arrangements, to Nick, Finn and Liam for screen and sound, Ian Foster and Toastmasters for the timekeeping, and Lake Taupō Rotary Club for organising this evening. This meeting is also being live streamed and may be viewed through the TDC website. So firstly, let's look at the health and safety requirements. Exits are marked the way you came in and over here. Toilets are in the foyer, and the assembly point is the grass horseshoe area between the Great Lakes Centre and the library. A uniformed security officer will be stationed at the main doors to control entry and to respond to any disruptions or disorderly behaviour during the event. Which of course I hope there will not be any. Please note that standard meeting protocols will be followed. That is, respect for all participants and no interruptions while others are speaking. A gentle reminder to please turn your phones to silent now. The key players are on stage tonight, and they're the candidates whose names are on the screen. They're seated in alphabetical order of surname. Apologies. 6 candidates are unable to attend and have submitted their apologies, namely Christine Rankin, David Freeman, Yvonne Mesterman, Michael Downard, Katrine Wilson and Nahuia Foreman. 3 of the apologies are from sitting councillors, 2 of whom are indisposed. The program. So let's look at how the meeting, and it's disappeared. There we go. Why won't it go? There we go. Right. The program and for how the meeting is going to be run, we'll start with introductions. Each candidate has 1.5 minutes to state why they are standing for council, their occupation, their top 3 key issues, and their vision for the district, their leadership, governance skills and experience, and how long they've been in the district, plus any stakeholder connections such as ratepayers or residents groups or iwi, etc. That will be followed by round 1 and round 2 questions for all candidates, who will respond to questions relating to current key issues raised by residents, ratepayers, business, community and specialist interest groups. Candidates were each given 5 questions to prepare, from which they will respond to 2. Many candidates, or many submitters, asked for responses from all candidates, which is not always possible, but there will be some repetition. Timing will be strictly adhered to. Each candidate has 1.25 minutes to respond. There will be a warning bell at 1 minute, and the microphone will be switched off at 1.25 minutes. At the end of round 2, there will be some additional questions for mayoral candidates, then a series of quick-fire yes-no questions directed to all candidates. There may be the opportunity for additional submitted questions should time permit after that. Candidates will now answer the first of their questions, and they will pass the microphone to the person on their right as they finish. So the first 4 are the mayoral candidates, beginning with Zane Cousins. So, Zane, do you support retaining Māori wards as a way to uphold Te Tiriti o Waitangi and ensure tanga whenua representation? And if not, what alternative approach would you propose?
Yeah, well, sorry, I think we're a bit out of order. We were given a elevator speech opportunity first, then we were given
Oh yeah, sorry,
six
beg your
questions,
pardon.
yes. So there was an elevator speech we were allowed to have first, and then
Oh, sorry, yep, go ahead, back.
So we're doing an elevator speech each, is that?
You do your first speech, my apologies. I'm getting ahead of myself.
There has never been a more pressing time for real, accountable change. Ask yourself, does your council listen to you? Is it accountable to you? Does it manage your money respectfully? My name is Zane Cousins, and I'm standing for the mayoral role in 2025. I've lived here all my life. I've built businesses here, successful businesses. I've grown alongside our people. I understand its challenges, its history, and its potential. Why am I standing now? Because 12 years of the same leadership has left us tired. We've had 12 years of muddled decisions, poor financial direction, and at times dysfunction. We can do better. I know we can do better. And I'm the only mayoral candidate with a 100-day plan that will lead us to better. Let's control expense, cut waste, reorientate council back to its core services. I will seek out external funding and champion business and lift opportunities for youth. I'll be visible, transparent, and front foot every decision. Make this a year of change. You can vote the same to get the same, or you can vote for Zane and vote for change. Thank you.
So, John?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just a brief history on me. I started my working life as a 5-year-old working for Dad on the dairy farm. I am a farmer's son by breeding. That was many years ago. Since then, I've went and became a pilot. And about 40 plus years ago, I arrived in Taupō to start the helicopter operation here, which subsequently the company I was working for said you either have to buy the operation or look to work for someone else. No sooner got started and I got into the air ambulance business. Some of the early flights were for the hospital and for some of my colleagues in aviation who had come to grief. That was quite successful, so much so that Waikato Hospital asked me to duplicate that at Hamilton, which I did do. The things that worry me most, which you'll hear tonight from many of us, are the rates increases. There's been a series of those, and I understand why. There's a lot of capital expenditure required. The other issues for me are the RMA and the distrust we've got and the lack of disclosure that's been a surprise for all of us. There's also the Maori wards issue, and to me that's all about equal opportunities for all, and that's what I stand for. Transparency is a big thing for me. And I stand in front of you. What you see is what you get with me.
Thank you.
Right, let the speed dating begin. I'm Kevin Taylor. I've had the privilege of serving on council for 6 years now. Prior to that, I served 44 years in New Zealand Police, have a business studies degree and a graduate diploma in dispute resolution. I'm also a Resource Management Act Commissioner. I understand the law and how local government works. I've always worked in teams, many of them as a leader, and my skills range from training, leadership development, operational planning, change management, and civil defence. Local government is at a difficult crossroads right now. Rates are unaffordable, yep. The funding model, however, for local government is broken and needs to change. My focus is on getting better value for ratepayers. That's all of you. Changes to the RMA, planning, building consents, water services delivery, and regional council structure are being questioned. More change is coming. I have the current knowledge, the skills and the experience with the time and energy to voice your concerns and lead us confidently to an uncertain future. You've heard time for a change. Well, I think Bob Dylan summed it up better. The times, they are a-changing. A vote for Kevin Taylor ensures changes with the times. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much to the Lake Taupō Rotary to put this evening. Toastmasters, good to see you. I'm a former stock agent, retail operator and sports administrator, which I think bodes me well for my last 12 years as Mayor. Together we have achieved major milestones: modern airport terminal, lakefront upgrades, supercars and World Ironman events. New Zealand's most beautiful town twice, and became a CNN top global destination. Certain people are asking for change, but why would you want? It's stable, calm and very well respected across the country. Financially, very stable with a AA Standard & Poor's rating, and also $90 million of your money is in our investments. One of only 10 councils in New Zealand to have that. We live in a beautiful district, fantastic growth in business, geothermal activity and tourism. But I understand for our residents, it must remain affordable to live here. We must consolidate our progress while continuing to support our farmers, tourism, local businesses. Turangi, Mangakino, Kinloch and Southern Shores must be looked after. In these difficult times, trust and experience matter. I stand by the proper process and do not make promises I cannot keep. I will not let you down, and I will not leave a job half done. Vote David T. Still the Mayor for all. Thank you.
So now we have the Taupō District Council candidates, beginning with Richard Cade.
Yes, good evening. My name's Richard Cade. I have been in Taupō for over 20 years now. Prior to that, I was a commercial scientific diver working for the Ministry of Fisheries, and then I spent 35 years in the commercial fishing industry before I came here. I came up to Taupō, and whether I did the right thing or not, I got involved in a lavender farm, and from that point, you will probably see me if you come down to the market, because I sell hand creams and soaps and things like that. I'm standing because I think change is necessary. I think we've got to get back to basics. The nice haves can wait, and we've got to deal with that. I believe that transparency is important. It's not always happening here, but we have to do it, and we have to take the ratepayers along, because that is who are going to put us in council, and we are responsible to you. I also want accountability, and I want accountability not only in the employed council, but in the councillors themselves. And rates and debt are really important, and it doesn't seem that they get enough weight here. Thank you.
I'm Duncan Campbell, standing for Taupō Ward, and my three priorities are: first, restore democracy; second, take back control of council; and thirdly, cap rates to inflation. Speaking just to the first, restore democracy, I say there is little point in having elections if any time something important comes up, the dissenting voices get squashed by leadership, and that is why some fresh faces at the helm are crucial. There are, of course, some other things, but that would be a good start. I've lived here 9 years. I bring my technical background as a practicing civil engineer with a proven background to challenge poor decisions and push for better ones. Value for money infrastructure and weighing up the consequences of not doing something are things we need to do more of around here. People have lost faith that council works for them, and they are not wrong, because right now council is off doing its own thing. That's at the heart of everything, really, from exorbitant rate hikes to dodgy decisions being made behind closed doors, and no wonder voter turnout has been historically low. I think we can rebuild that trust by listening and being transparent, and together we can tackle the rest of the challenges to rebuild a council that actually works for the people. Thank you.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ngā mihi nui ki a koutou, ko Bill Clark toko ingoa, ko Ngāti Parau te iwi. My wife Barbara and I have proudly called Taupo our home for the last 20 years. We moved here from Palmerston North when I became the principal at Taupo Intermediate and Barbara joined the staff at Taupo Nui Aotea College. Our 3 children grew up here, and though they now live overseas with our grandchildren, Taupo remains at the heart of our family. I'm from a family of 13 children myself. My mum was a teacher, my dad was a transport operator. Mum's special subject was biology. We've never just been residents. We've been active participants in everything that makes Taupo special. I completed the Around the Lake cycle race 19 times, led my staff and the Around the Lake walk run over 20 years, and since 2002 we've organised a station for the New Zealand Ironman event. My commitment extended beyond school hours. I helped revive the Taupo Sports Club, working with volunteers to rebuild club rooms and establish the club. As principal of Taupo Intermediate, I've developed strong skills in stakeholder engagement, budget management and strategic planning. My vision for Taupo, I'm committed to collaborative governance that supports sustainable development while preserving the natural environment, exceptional lifestyle that makes Taupo our special. Our community deserves leadership that understands both our local character and the challenges ahead. More importantly, my
Kia ora, good evening everyone. My name is Nicola Delator. My career has largely been in project management, leading teams in the events industry, from partnership onboarding to stakeholder engagement and financial management. I believe I've cared about community and people since forever, and found the opportunity to action that when I had an idea called Taupo Winter Festival some 10 years ago. I've led a team that's put that event on for the last 10 years, and through the One Taupo Trust, this year we'll have donated over $50,000 to families in the Taupo region that have got sick children and under financial hardship. A few years ago, I made a conscious decision to focus the second half of my career on positive social change through brave and thoughtful leadership, and here I am. Since then, I've served on the board of Taupo Blue Light, over in Rotorua Community Hospice. I've worked as partnership and fundraising manager, and currently I'm on the Bay Trust, serving on the investment committee, and most recently been one of the Crown appointees on the Taupo Nui Aotea Management Board. I believe my skill set, my values, which I haven't even got time to talk about, and my experience would be a great asset around the table, and if you agree, I would be privileged to serve you. Thanks for being here and caring enough about our community to be here. Thank you.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Good evening, everyone and all. My name is Barry Delaney. I am of this district, for this district, passionate about this district. I'm standing for council because I have the time, I have the capability, and I want to give back to a community that has served me and my family so well over my lifetime. My vision for Taupo is for it to be a great place to live, work and play, while getting value for money from council and its services and investments. I have an understanding of the people and peoples in the district. I am connected to the community and business through sport, business and individual iwi relationships. I've shown leadership in the community through being a current life member of the Taupo Rugby and Sports Club, being chairman of the Taupo Rugby Sub-Union, being a board member for King Country Rugby Union, and being the CEO for the Lake Taupo Development Company Trust. I have an extensive business background where I've been running businesses for other entrepreneurs and shareholders. I am now my own import and distribution business based in Auckland with oversight from here in Taupo. These experiences have allowed me to see governance from both sides of the coin by reporting to boards and also being on boards. I see the main challenges for the district going forward is to be keeping rates low while managing our infrastructure requirements, which are growing in demand, ageing and in some cases failing. This is critical to ensuring Taupo is a great place for all to live, work and play. Ngā mihi nui.
I'm Steve Mananui. I'm currently the General Manager of Operations at Whakapapa Ski Area. My whānau have lived in Taupō for many generations. I'm standing for council because as a father I would like to give back to our community so that our future generations can continue to thrive. My vision for Taupō is for us to be New Zealand's best place to live in, with vibrant tourism, innovative industry, supported by a thriving and sustainable economy and a strong community. I bring expertise in emergency management, procurement and budgeting, infrastructure and project management, hospitality and tourism. I have governance skills from working with multiple different boards. I'm currently on the Tauhara College board. I have stakeholder experience from working with agencies like the Department of Conservation, our regional tourism organisations, business associations, iwi and hapu. My three tasks are to foster a sustainable economy while managing infrastructure, housing and rental market, the community services and education. Two, supporting our council, making sure they're efficient though and with budgets that are forward thinking. And thirdly, representation, guaranteeing that all diverse voices within our community are heard and advocating for equity versus equality. Appreciate the time tonight. Thanks for coming.
Evening all, my name's Steve Punter. I just love these small intimate fireside chats. I'm glad that you all came out tonight and I thank you for that. So I'm new to council, I will be new to council, which means I don't have any baggage to bring along. I've been working on community boards now for 35 years, so I know how boards are supposed to work, I know how governance is supposed to be, and I have taught governance. So I hope I can bring that experience to the council. I've been in HR and adult education most of my life, so I've been working with people for most of my life. Where am I? So currently I'm the board of Coast Guard Lake Taupo, the Employment Law Institute, and a couple of others that aren't relative to what we're doing here. You can't hear me? Okay, what about that? Okay, so I spend a lot of time in conflict resolution and mediation, which is my job. So again, I've been working with people. I will quickly learn the history of council decisions so that my input and contribution will be well informed. I'll keep the interests of residents at the forefront of what I'm doing and my contribution to council meetings and decisions. I'll do what I can to ensure the financial viability of Taupo, with a particular focus on debt reduction. Freudian slip there. So I'll be working to motivate people to be interested in what
Hello and good evening. My name is Rachel Shepherd. I am running for the Taupō ward. I've lived in Taupō now for some 45 years or so. I even have some teachers in the audience. Hello, thank you for being here. My background is in commercial and industrial management, development, specifically project management. And given this background and the legislative change that's afoot in those areas, the RMA, the Building Consent Authority, I'd very much like to be at the table to help navigate that change from an end user perspective, because I think it's important that central government understands what it is to apply for a building consent, how to get a resource management consent, because it's a fraught process and it needs change, significant change. I've just completed my first term on council, and I've used the past 3 years to learn absolutely everything I can about how council works, processes, challenges, and how to get things done. I think some of the biggest challenges that we're facing at the moment is the economic environment. We've got significant growth to plan and pay for. Rates are completely unaffordable at the moment, and as Kevin's alluded to, we've got a system that's fundamentally broken, and we're going to have to find different ways of finding ways to pay for things. So there's a lot of work to be done at the table. I think my experience will, over the last triennium, will be very beneficial, and I would very much like to represent you and hear from you, because it's not just about me telling you what the council is doing, it's about you telling me what it is you would like the council to do. So one of my goals is
Good evening. My name's Anne Tweedy, and I'm a lifelong advocate for people and the community, committed to building a bridge between urban and rural perspectives. My career spans admin, dental, retail, radio, newspaper and magazines. And while farming in the Bay, I achieved a marketing degree through Massey University. With each of these chapters, I've sharpened my empathy with people, worked on problem solving and my communication skills. I've served on the Rural Community Board in Hastings and worked for advertising and publishing in the UK and in New Zealand. I have also held roles at Westpac Bank as a teller and Wrightsons in rural real estate. After 35 years in business, I am ready to bring it all to the table for the good of your district. You will be asking, what are my issues? Capping rates to match the cost of living hasn't been done yet. Resisting government centralisation, we don't want it, we need to push back. Smarter budgeting, beg your pardon, to cut waste and save dollars. Long-term infrastructure and planning. Protecting our environment while working with all our community. Raising awareness of invasive clams and the toxic waste that's currently being poured into our lake. All the while preserving Taupo's unique character. It's time to stop watching decisions happen to us and start making them for ourselves. Let's take back control of our rates, our environment and our future. Thank you.
Kia ora katoa, my name is Belinda Walker and I'm standing for the Taupō electorate, and I just want to say thank you all for coming out and for watching and for putting this on tonight. Whatever you do, please vote, whoever you vote for. We want to make this the most that you've heard your voice. Where did I come from? Originally from Southland, actually. I'm a farmer's daughter, but Darren and I moved here 10 years ago with our children. We took our time. Our kids are now at university, college and primary school. So I'm involved in a lot of different age grades, and we've even got Darren's parents retired here in Somerset Village. What do I do here? I'm currently the development manager for Lake Taupo basketball and for Taupo cricket, and my passion is helping people as a health coach. Why do I want to stand for council, and why is this important? I believe we need a vision that we all come together and then we can all be a part of this together. I'm very grateful this year in the New Year's Honours list to be made a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit for service to the community, proven service in community leadership, education, sport, music and advocacy. And I would like to share that passion and persistence with the Taupō District itself. It's what I've been challenged to do and why I'm standing for you. So thank you for coming and please vote.
Good evening, I'm Mark Wynyard. This has been my town for the last 60 years and I will not go down the trail of telling you how wonderful I am, because I'm not. However, I have served on council previously, so I would be reasonably up to speed. The things I've done lately is for 6 years I've been running a feed station for the Ironman. I'm currently People's Warden at St Andrew's Church. I'm serving on the Interchurch Welfare Group. And I do not think that 8.4% rate rise is a good outcome for anybody. With the interchurch welfare, I see how people are struggling in this town. We've got to keep our costs under control. But I will not make any promises I cannot keep. The other thing is I have the expertise to serve you well as a councillor, and I have the time. Thank you.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Julie Yeoman toko ingoa. My whānau have called this place home for over 6 decades. I grew up here, raised my family here, and 20 years ago I started a small business in town. I remain a local business owner today. I sit on the Lake Taupo Cycle Challenge Trust and Women in Forestry boards. I have coached, competed, participated and volunteered in numerous local events. Service to our community has always been part of who I am. I am standing for council because I care deeply about the future of Aotearoa. We face challenges, from infrastructure pressures to keeping housing affordable, protecting our environment to supporting local business. I will engage my 15 years of governance experience to ensure I am fully informed, ask questions of council staff, and absolutely operate with fiscal prudence, with one simple test. Is this decision delivering benefit to our rate-paying community? I value honesty and transparency. My greatest strength is in listening, bringing people together and building genuine connections. I will uphold the vision of our citizens to keep our district affordable, enjoyable and connected. It would be my honour to represent and serve our community. Ngā mihi nui.
Turn my mic off, thank you. We now move on to the two Waikato Regional Council candidates. We have only two candidates because one has offered his apologies. And timekeepers, would you please note that because these candidates don't have any opportunities to speak anywhere else, that they each get 3.5 minutes with a warning bell on 3.25 minutes. Thank you.
It's because we're special. Nā mihi ki a koutou katoa, ko Debbie Davies tōku ingoa. Nā uri ahau no Ngāti Tūwharetoa me Ngāti Raukawa me Maniapoto me Ngāti Ranginui hoki. Good evening, welcome. Wow, it's amazing to come stand here. One of the things my husband said to me when we arrived is stick to the script. Sorry darling, I can't. So, I've listened to our local district council. Why am I here? Why am I standing for Waikato Regional Council? I guess I'm a little bit naive. See, I grew up in this town. I'm one of the local girls that grew up where my brothers would describe me as being one of the naughty ones. I saw Danny here. I used to say that I used to copy his work, but I think he copied mine. But I'm here because I care, just like every one of you. That's why you're here tonight, because you actually care about our town. I do too. Why Waikato Regional Council? Well, see, I don't do things in halves. I believe that we need to be visible. I believe we need to be seen. I know what it's like with Waikato Regional Council. I've worked in iwi for over 17 years now. I've done things where I've sat on the boards, many different boards, in regards to audit and risk, mainly in the finance area. But, you know, you watch and you see things like the rates increasing, cost of living going up. And so, for me, I always think, how can I add value to something? How can I do that? How can I look at what's best for our future generation? That's me. I've sat on so many different things over the years, and so that's why I put my hat in the ring for Waikato Regional Council. I'm championing for rates. Again, I don't believe that rates should be increasing the way that they do. I think we need to look at it, but I'm also cautious. I'm cautious that if you decide to cap your rates, what are the consequences of capping? However, as human beings, we budget. We learn to budget. We need to know. We need that transparency that everybody's saying. We need to understand. How is that? So for me, I'm championing rates. I'm championing the farmers, sitting alongside farmers for me. You know, we always give farmers a hard time. I don't believe they deserve that. I believe in this country, they've been part of our economic growth. So I'm championing for our farmers, and I'm championing for water. What does that mean? For me, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a clever dickie in that area, but what I am good at is I am good at partnering alongside people. Lake Taupō Protection Trust, they've been around here for years, doing great work in our community. How many of you know about them? I'm willing to sit alongside them. I'm willing to educate our community, educate myself, and find a way that we can do things better and for the environment, for you, to serve our people. That's what we're here for, to reduce costs if we can, to make it better for not just you, for the future generation. That's who I am. If you believe in that, then vote for Debbie Davies. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora koutou katoa. I'm Deb Mayer, and I've been holidaying in Hātepe for around 25 years. And 2 years ago, I decided to move permanently up here for work and life balance. As a local ecologist and environmental advocate, I'm standing to protect the lake, our rivers, and the landscapes that we all love. I genuinely care and have been advocating and fighting for our lake, our rivers, our bush, and our birds. I'm stepping up to work alongside others to lead constructive change in a sector facing challenging times, building trust, listening carefully, and finding common ground to achieve results for all of you. I have extensive governance experience across central and local government, community organisations, and environmental management. I have answered ministers' questions, contributed to governance and decision-making processes, encouraging basic practice in biosecurity and supporting sustainable fisheries, riparian planting, wetland restoration, erosion control, land use change through sustainable practices, stakeholder engagement, and protecting our natural habitats. I bring scientific literacy, regional insight, and evidence-based approach to governance. I believe in data-based critical thinking, not opinions and not political bias. The two key issues that I'm passionate about are, one, tackling water quality, shortages, and demands by working together. For our communities to thrive, we need healthy waterways, as nitrogen levels in our lake and rivers affect our ecosystems, our economy, and our way of life. I bring ecological expertise to restoring water quality by building collaboration between iwi, communities, and councils to achieve stronger wastewater and stormwater outcomes and managing invasive pests and supporting long-term freshwater pest control. 2, ensuring that regional planning, funding, and maintenance priorities align with the safety and well-being of our communities. For example, the road between Taupo and Turangi is one of the busiest in our region, yet it is one of the dangerous. We need safety upgrades now, better shoulders, more passing lanes, and safer intersections for our families, freight, and visitors to travel without fear. By making smarter investments and conducting needs assessment, we can define the gaps in our results. If you vote Deb Mayor, I'll show up, listen, and do the best I can to represent you. If you vote Deb Mayor, I'll work alongside others to deliver real outcomes for you.
Okay. Thank you. And now we have the Te Papa Māori Ward and Danny Lachlan.
Kia ora tātou, ko Danny Lachlan, tako ingoa. Lovely to be here. Uri of Tū Wharetoa. I have my mum and dad sitting in the front here. Everybody's doing, they've lived all their lives here in Taupo. I literally live behind the Kosi Club. So pleased to be here. Why am I standing for council? We just need good councillors with good governance experience, looking after our council. I was a chartered accountant for 20 years. Everybody's talking about why are our rates going up? Well, we've got a plan right now to spend $50 million on water infrastructure. This isn't something that council gets to choose. This is what gets put on to us by central government. So those are the real issues that are in front of us. You don't do that work. Government will put our councillors, no, they'll put our council staff in jail. So it's a big issue. It's probably the biggest one that's fronting us, and we need some people with some financial expertise around the table to manage that. Anyway, my interest in governance has been around environmental, Tū Wharetoa Māori Trust Board for 20 years, looking after the lake and the rivers. Also a bit of a bent in health, did 6 years on a DHB. I was chair for our PHO for a while, looking after low-cost access for health and everything else in our community. Kia ora tātou.
Tēnā koutou, ko Wahine Merch tōku ingoa. My name is Wahine Merch, he ria hau no Ngāti Tūwharetoa, no te hiku wai me te mātā puna o Ngāti Tūwharetoa. I'm from the northern, the eastern, the western and the southern end of the lake. Bit of background about me, I started my career when I was 17 at Contact Energy in the sustainability team. I went on to study Māori laws and philosophy. I've worked across multiple iwi organisations and later on in the public sector as a court taker and a case manager. Today my day job is a junior project manager for another iwi entity, the commercial arm of the Lake Taupō Forest Trust. I've chaired the Youth Law New Zealand's Youth Advisory Committee at a national level as well, and I'm currently studying law at the University of Waikato. Why am I standing? I'm standing because council needs young voices with both lived experience and leadership. My vision's built on 3 priorities: taiao, tangata and tipuranga. Taiao, protecting our lake, rivers and whenua, because if our environment thrives, we all thrive. Tangata, empowering our people. Tipuranga, growing opportunities, supporting our local businesses and driving economic development that's sustainable and future-proof. I'm standing for council because my people and my rohe kōr, and I want to bring fresh, rangatahi, young perspective.
Thank you. So now we begin with the first round of questions, and Zane, you now get your chance to answer your question, please.
Māori wards?
So, do you support retaining Māori wards as a way to uphold Te Tiriti o Waitangi and ensure tangata whenua representation? And if not, what alternative approach would you propose?
I believe that, you hear me okay? Yeah. So Māori wards, they are meant to empower Māori. And some would say that yes, they have empowered Māori. However, I think we need to turn the lens back onto council, not just for the Māori wards, but for other wards as well. Where's the report card for the successes that they've achieved? That's my concern. Is it delivering results for Māori? In 2018, I'm on record at the representation review for asking the question, will Māori wards represent all Māori? Because we have two wharetoa and we have the Puakani people of Mangakino. They have no familial ties to each other. So who will look after the Puakani people was my question. I think come next year, there's going to be a representation review. We can do things a whole lot better, not just for the Māori wards, but also for the Eastern Rural Ward, Turangi and Mangakino as well. So as far as Māori wards are concerned, I think the council...
Right, John Fennell, do you believe rates should be capped to the rate of inflation? If so, why and how?
Yes, I do. However, it's a big ask, particularly with all the capital expenditure that's been put ahead of us, that has to be done if we want clean water and keep the environment clean. It is going to be a challenge, and to do it, to meet a capping to match the inflation rates is probably beyond the current environment without help from government.
Kevin Taylor, do you agree or disagree with the recent decision by TDC regarding local water done well, and why or why not? How does the TDC budget for overcapacity for water pipes and sewage in view of the increase in residential industrial construction and the increased numbers through tourism?
So a simple question. Do I get 30 seconds of Johnson? I agree, absolutely, and I've been part of the process from the very beginning. It represents the best value for ratepayers' money right now. The decision will, however, be reviewed in 2027, but for now we remain, so to speak, in the tent with Waikato Water's done well, and part of that agreement gives us access to shared services like procurement for pipes and pumps and the like. You've got to remember there are 3 government agencies overseeing the water services delivery: DIA, Taumata Arawai for water quality, and the Commerce Commission for cost. Councils must have full balance sheet separation, and there is no status quo, and there's no going back, and none of this is coming cheap. In terms of the second question, the planning is done on households and commercial accommodation, not full-time residents, and that's in our infrastructure strategy. So when town fills up during holidays, we aren't caught short. There's $144 million budgeted in the next 10 years to manage and upgrade the infrastructure. Remember, growth pays for growth through development contributions. Thank you.
Thank you. David, regarding the recent controversy over the joint management agreement, what is your view of the proposal to extend the scope to cover Taupo Moana? Please explain.
Thank you. It is a requirement of the current Act of Parliament to have one. There is nothing to be scared of here, and there is a lot of misinformation out there. It does not have anything to do with people's ability to use the lake or charging regimes. That has already been settled by the Crown. This is essentially around resource management and considerations which already happen now. I voted to pause it, as it was clear people did not understand. So having more communication is very necessary, and taking people along with us on this journey. I encourage everyone to read it, understand it, and reach out to your councillors or the Mayor for some clarification. It's a document that we need to do at some stage, but I totally understand we're pausing it at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Cade. Broadlands landfill is reaching capacity and nearing the end of its current consent. What range of options do you envisage for addressing the district's solid waste disposal needs?
It's the one question I didn't want. But seriously, how long have we got with the Broadlands landfill at the moment? And how long have we got to reorganise a new one? Are we going to do something like find another position somewhere in close to Taupo itself? Are we going to use an incineration operation? I don't really know, and I believe if you're going to do this, the council has got to come up with a position paper in the next 3 or 4 months to tell us the options that are there. I can make no other comment on it because I don't know enough about that one.
Thank you. Duncan Campbell. Describe the purpose of Te Tiriti o Waitangi and how it affects your local government role.
I first struck this in council planning documents, stating we apparently acknowledge partnership as the basis of Te Tiriti. And I've since come to appreciate how it does impact your rates, if I may quote a few examples. $500,000 a year set aside for maintaining Kiwi relations, acquiescence to a $20 million land disposal option for the Turangi wastewater plant, which is effectively a cultural project being portrayed to the public as an environmental necessity. And thirdly, tacit endorsement by staff and most elected members of the Joint Management Agreement, JMA, all throughout the process, even though things were getting thrown in which were way beyond its legislated requirement, and a Māori ward councillor declaring no conflicted interest even though they were a significant party on both sides of the agreement. So we should be glad that the Mayor of Kaipara was kind enough to release their independent legal opinion, which clarifies that Treaty of Waitangi obligations should have very little to do with local government, and hopefully we will see a change of outlook, or at least a review here as well.
Bill Clark, did you agree or disagree with the recent decision by TDC regarding local water done well, and why or why not? And you also get the second part of the question. which is how does the TDC budget for overcapacity for water pipes and sewage in view of the increase in residential and industrial construction and the increased numbers through tourism?
The second question is probably, I don't have enough information on, I'm sorry. Did I agree or disagree with the recent decision? The three water system that was imposed by the Labor government didn't allow locals to be able to make their own decisions about what was happening in their own district. And I agree that local water done well is where it should be. It should be based in our region. It does have some problems though with infrastructure, particularly putting the burden of the cost back onto us in the local area and not. So that may obviously put some burden on us as the ratepayers. I don't have any comments, sorry, on the second part.
Nicola de la Tour, with the removal of the 4 well-beings from the Local Government Act, would you see this impacting on municipal amenities? And if so, how?
Thank you. Yes, so the 4 well-beings were social, economic, environmental and cultural. And that was part of the change in the Local Government Act in 2002 and then 2019. The 4 well-beings gave councils a broader mandate to consider the areas I've just mentioned, social, cultural, environmental and economic outcomes, and not just core services. Without them, the focus is narrowed to infrastructure and compliance. That doesn't mean amenities like the parks and libraries and community programs disappear, but it does mean councils will have to work harder to justify them against tighter definitions of essential services. My concern is that this could make it harder to invest in the kinds of community spaces and services that make Taupō a great place to live and for people to come and visit. Thank you.
Good. Barry Delaney, what is your understanding of the different sources and applications of capital and operational expenditure provisions for future investment in infrastructure, and how will it be achieved?
Thank you, Catherine. Infrastructure is a long-term investment and it should largely be funded by debt. That way the cost is shared not only by today's ratepayers but also by tomorrow's ratepayers, making it more equitable and realistic. It would be totally unaffordable to expect today's ratepayers to cover the fuller cost of something like a new bridge up front, while future ratepayers only contribute to the maintenance. Ongoing maintenance of infrastructure, on the other hand, should be funded through rates, tolls or fees to ensure infrastructure is kept up to date and working well throughout its life. It's a whole of life approach. Of course, any debt must be managed carefully with clear repayment plans and accountability so that ratepayers know we're not just kicking the can down the road. Alongside debt and rates, I'd also look for opportunities to secure central government funding. I think some of that's been done well lately in this town. Subsidies or partnerships with other private sector players where appropriate to make sure that the cost burden is fared fairly and sustainably. If I'm elected, I'd be focused on ensuring value for money when sourcing the debt,
Steve Mananui, how much quality time can you realistically put into the role of a councillor to attend workshops, meetings, perform portfolios, reading papers and reports, research and social community functions?
Thank you. I do have, as I alluded to, a full-time job. Very busy in winter, but I do have the luxury of balancing that time out with more time to contribute in the summer. My company and my board are supportive of me going on this journey. But yes, I think I can do it, but I can't promise that This I see as a apprenticeship, I guess, which generally the first triennial is. But I do have access to some good tools that I can use to help use my time wisely. So very busy. I have a very, very unique work ethic, and I think I can manage the time. I can't comment. I've talked to a few on council in and around the different communities, committees, sorry, and the different time that is needed for each. But this is going to be a little bit of a learning journey. I'm in this for the long run, and so I hope that I can learn as I go.
Steve Punto, what do you understand about TDC's strategic long-term property development policy? Please explain.
Okay. Firstly, I'm going to have to say I'm going to wing it because I didn't get the 6 questions, so I haven't had time to prepare for that, unless you want to ask me another question.
No.
No? There you go. So now you're going to see winging it, all right? So I would hope that council's investment in property would always be with an eye to a return on the investment. So the recent move to the new premises has provoked quite a bit of discontent among some that it would have been cheaper to stay where we were in spite of asbestos. So all I can say in answer to the question is that if we're spending money on property that we're going to own, then we need to get a return on that investment. Council shouldn't really be in the property owning business. It's not what councils are for. Thank you.
So apologies from Christine Rankin. I could perhaps have given that question to you instead, but too late now. Right, Rachel Shepherd. Historically, the intent of the TEL fund was to subsidise rates for the TKMP wards. How do you believe this fund should be utilised in the future? It's been a long time since it was used to subsidise rates.
Yes, that's correct. And actually this term, the council did actually invest that fund, and it is doing rather nicely. So the discussion now is how can we use that fund? And I'm suggesting that with rates caps on the horizon and rates getting out of control, that perhaps this is the fund that we use for our community projects to alleviate the rates burden on those. There could be, what else have I got here? Actually, that's the main reason why we would have the TEL fund, actually, is to alleviate rates, to help facilitate some community projects, because right now, that's a nice to have, and that's not coming out of your rates for the foreseeable future, I wouldn't think. So we can look at this fund very strategically, and that way we can help alleviate some of the gaps where the 4 well-beings have been removed as well, because that really does limit our ability to help with social services, with sport, with arts, and that's what this fund could potentially be used for.
Anne Tweedy. So what are the drivers to support and incentivise new business opportunities and visitors to the district?
Thank you. I did get that question. Okay. I think the first thing we can do to improve business in town is stop penalising people. Rewriting the draft Joint Management Act, keeping up the requirements that are required with it, of course, would be a good start. We currently are discouraging new business in Taupō. For example, a local boatman is paying quite a lot of money to the board to reduce, he sold half his business to the Tūwharetora board to reduce his running costs, and a lot of businesses involved on the lake are getting penalised and paying lots of money. That is not sustainable. It's putting a lot of people off. Businesses are being charged here to operate here. And are Tūwharetora Trust Board contributing financially to the lake upkeep? I don't know. I'm going to look into that one. Do they already have the fees that are being collected from the boat ramp passes, the fishing licences, and certainly from any sports events that involve swimming or involving the water? So what's next? A swimming licence, I wonder. And I hope it never comes to that. How much is Tū Wharetoa currently contributing to the funds and the upkeep to keep Lake Taupo clean? Because it's something we need to work on together, especially given the revenue that they're already receiving. We need more information.
Belinda Walker. Identify the elements that make up your governance role. What skills and personal attributes do you have to make you an effective councillor?
Kia ora, and hasn't this been fun? Sometimes you see people that know the answer or had the questions and some who haven't. But I'm grateful that I have seen this. My background prior to coming to Taupō was in marketing and strategic planning. My first role actually was with the New Zealand Dairy Board. That's pre-Fonterra. And actually my role within there was on the project that put Fonterra together. We worked very closely, even as a graduate, new graduate, with that board of directors. And then I went on to working through multinationals in the UK. When we came home, my governance has been 7 years of leadership in the Kinloch community. And so I believe that those skills have put me in a good position to share those with you. I've also spent 3 terms on the Kinloch representative group. And in that group, that has been a really interesting process to get at least a half look at what it is like to be on the council. So I'm not going in completely blind, but I have only got half a look, and I know there's going to be a lot to learn in coming into that area. But I do believe my personal attributes of persistence and wanting to reach out and actually communicate with people. We had an issue in Kinloch where they couldn't present the meeting each time, and so I chose to make it a live stream on my phone. I know not everyone is on Facebook, but we find solutions to.
Yvonne Westerman sadly is not with us today, so we'll move on. Katrine Wilson also sent her apologies. Whoops.
Is there anything out here for me? Because I never got a link.
Yes, I've got just a moment. We'll find you.
I'm certainly not Yvonne.
No. There we go, Mark. So what is your understanding of the different sources and applications of capital and operational expenditure provisions for future investment in infrastructure, and how will it be achieved?
The council has opportunities of getting finance at a very cheap rate through the local government association. So that takes care of the capital expenditure. Operational expenditure is you suckers out there right now, because operational expenditure has to come from rates, and that continual spiral cost to you people, and that's the major object of me on council, is to look for other opportunities and other avenues of finance to help to knock the top off rates. So there are a group of us looking now at other opportunities to find finance apart from rates to meet our operational expenditure. But it's too early for me to say anything now because we don't want to jump the gun. But that's my objective. Thank you.
Julie Yeoman, with the removal of the 4 well-beings from the Local Government Act, would you see this impacting on municipal amenities, and if so, how?
Thank you, Catherine. The government removed the 4 well-beings to force local councils to refocus on core services, on core service delivery. The Ministry of Internal Affairs estimated that the 4 well-beings were potentially costing or contributing up to 2% increase in ratepayers' costs. I note that the 4 well-beings had been removed in 2012 and then were reinstated in 2019, and think boom boom. While councils are no longer legislated to address social, economical, environmental and cultural well-being, there remains the option to choose to do this. This will cost money. My concern is that these areas that make up the fabric of our vibrant and thriving community will fall into the nice to do or fluffy basket. We will need to work smart and assertively with business partners to retain these core elements and add this into our annual and long-term planning. Thank you.
Debbie, how do you understand Te Tiriti o Waitangi in the context of local government and the Waikato Regional Council?
I'm sitting there panicking because I never got the question, but you gave me a good one. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm the Deputy Chair for Raukawa Charitable Trust, been involved with them for, like I said, about 17 years now. So that question comes to me, I would say it's all about mātauranga. It's all about governance. It's all about collaboration. Te tiriti is not designed to have a separation. Te riti is kotahitanga. It's about being one. It doesn't matter whether you're Māori, Pākehā, Chinese, whatever. Kotahitanga is about one. Te tiriti, that's my interpretation. It should be right across everywhere. Kia ora.
Kia ora. So Michael Downard had his apologies, and we go on to Deb Mayer. So what do you see should be the long-term strategy for the protection of the Taupo catchment and the region's lakes and waterways?
Thank you, Catherine. The long-term strategy for protecting the Lake Taupo catchment and our region's lakes and waterways must be guided by Te Kaupapa Kaitiaki, which expresses Ngāti Tūwhorotara's values and aspirations as Kaitiaki of Lake Taupo. Te Kaupua a Ka Napa Napa is the statutory mandated co-governance committee established under the Ngāti Tūwhorotara Claims Settlement Act 2018, bringing together Ngāti Tūwhorotara, Waikato Regional Council and Taupō District Council to manage the Taupo catchment collaboratively. In short, the strategy must be a long-term, intergenerational and holistic, upholding kaitiakitanga, manakitanga and sustainability so that the Lake Taupo and our waterways remain healthy, swimmable and full of life for future generations.
There we go. Good answer. So now Huia Foreman had her apologies, so we'll go on to Danny Lachlan. So Danny, please explain how the Council's financial strategy sets the limits on rates and debt and how this impacts on the Council view of being prudent.
Kia ora. I've sort of covered this already in terms of some of the costs that are in front of us, but our financial strategy informs our long-term plan, which helps us set out our annual plans. So how do we do this? We've set our own limits, our own self-imposed rates limit to the local government, which is the local government cost index plus 5%. Government is putting in more pressure on us, and we talked before about this $50 million. There's all these UV treatments, membranes and other technology that the government is putting on our council as part of that $50 million cost. So if we don't do it, like I said, it's our council staff that gets in trouble. So it's those big costs, which is part of why we have this sort of 5% over and above the local government cost index. What's our self-imposed debt ceiling? It's 250% of council revenue. And there's some good answers before about why you don't want to be paying for everything up front in the first year, just like your house mortgage, you need to spread it over time. But we're going to be staying well within that limit, and even though we can borrow more money from the local government.
Kia ora. Wahine Murch, what are standing orders and the code of conduct, and how are they used in a council context?
I got this question, so I did some Googling. Standing orders are basically the rule book for how council runs its meetings. They set the process for things like who can speak, how long for, how decisions are made and how debates are managed. They're pretty much the tikanga in a Māori context of how you run your hui. They're there to make sure meetings are fair, respectful and efficient, and that councillors have equal opportunity to participate. It's about keeping order and transparency in the way that decisions are reached.
Thank you. So that sees the end of round one. So now we go back and begin round two, which follows the same procedure and beginning with Zane Cousins. Before we do though, does anybody want some water? There's water up here on the table. There you go. Good girl. Thanks. Good one. Right, Zane. Speaking of which, did you agree or disagree with the recent decision by TDC regarding local water done well, and why or why not? How does the TDC budget for overcapacity for water pipes and sewage in view of the increase in residential industrial construction and the increased numbers through tourism?
I agree with the decision. I think it's good that's been kept in-house. We were courted by other areas because we're in pretty good shape. But water is going to cost more, be under no illusion, it's going to happen to us. It's inescapable. I am perplexed that central government, though, tells local government to control our expenditure, but at the same time, they give us a $800,000 bill a year to have oversight from the Commerce Commission. So they say, behave yourself here, and then they go thump here. The mayor needs to be at central government pushing back. Future-proofing. We have an asset management plan which addresses this. Refunding for the future. Rates will no longer cover this. Targeted rates won't do it either. That's shifting the deck chairs on the Titanic. We need to think strategically. We need to seek external funding from government. We need to have private-public partnerships. I've already been approached by a number of organisations. I'm just today, telling me that they are happy to supply us with infrastructure, product to help us to create community assets. We need to think differently.
Yeah. John, do you support retaining Māori wards as a way to uphold Te Tiriti o Waitangi and ensure tangata whenua representation? And if not, what alternative approach would you propose?
I think my position has been made pretty clear right from day one. I said no to Maori wards. I am, however, happy to abide by the referendum. I have no problem with that at all. Just a message to Rotary, could we please have some monitors out the front? It's damn hard to stand here and try and read on the screen and leap up here and talk. Treaty Waitangi, that's to do with central government. And council needs to focus on its core responsibilities, roads, rubbish and water. And we've been loaded up with stuff from Wellington, enough as it is. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Just a reminder that all candidates have received these questions and knew that they were going to be asked too. Kevin Taylor. All right. Kevin Taylor. Regarding the recent controversy over the joint management agreement, what is your view of the proposal to extend the scope to cover Taupo Moana? Please explain.
Okay, first of all, the vision of the JMA is Taupo Moana and the Upper Waikato River are thriving and healthy, sustaining abundant life and prosperous communities who, in turn, are all responsible for restoring and protecting the health and well-being of those water bodies. The JMA is mandated by what is colloquially called the Upper Waikato River Act. The Act specifically talks about Taupo waters. This includes the beds of Lake Taupo and most of the rivers and streams flowing into it. Taupo Moana extends that definition to cover those parts of the riverbeds not listed and includes the catchment of the lake. To protect the river, you must protect the lake. And it makes logical sense to protect that which flows into the lake and likely to impact water quality. That's what the Lake Taupo Protection Trust was all about. The critical question then is how far do we restrict development activity within the catchment, and are there sufficient safeguards in the JMA to protect both the water and people's rights to live and develop a future here? The sufficiency of those safeguards will need to be tested by the new council. Thank you.
Thank you. Oops. David, do you believe rates should be capped to the rate of inflation? If so, why and how?
And like John, I'm lucky to have eyes on the back of my head, so I'm pretty lucky to have that, but you've got to do this job. But anyway, rates cap. Keeping rate increases as low as possible is a priority. The large increases of recent years, while it is unavoidable, is untenable into the future. They have to happen due to matters out of our control: inflation, extra costs imposed by central government, and reduced income. But we need to find ways of reducing the need to have such large increases. I understand and appreciate the government is going to impose rate caps. You just hope that it is at a sensible level, that is not at the expense of investing in the assets. The real challenge, I believe, for the government is finding more sustainable revenue for local government, as rates alone are not working. How about the government share the GST from the tourism spending, international credit cards in our district, given central government gets all the income and local government has got to provide all the services? So, yeah, it's going to come. I don't think we look forward to it, but it's got to be a sensible rate. Thank you very much.
So Richard Cade, do you believe rates should be capped to the rate of inflation? If so, why and how? This is one of the questions that came from many submitters, and we're asking many of the candidates.
The simple answer is yes, I believe it is. And to achieve that, we are going to have to go through the business plan for the council, line by line, and cut out all the fluffy stuff, all the nice-have stuff, to ensure that we can concentrate on the key issues that are facing us, which is water, wastewater, sewage, and it's the only way to do it. It's going to hurt, and it's going to be difficult, and it may mean that there's going to be realignment of some of the staff that work for the council. But to achieve it, that's what we're going to have to do. And in council, it's going to take time, and it's going to be hard work, and people are not going to like us for it, but we've got to do it.
Okay. Duncan, do you support retaining Māori wards as a way to uphold Te Riti o Waitangi and ensure tangata whenua representation? And if not, what alternative approach would you propose?
I didn't see anything in the Treaty of Waitangi requiring us to have separate race-based seats or wards, only that Māori get to be treated as equal as anyone else. The Parliament seats were instigated in the 19th century for the very practical reason of enabling non-landowning Māori menfolk to be able to vote, and in fact that put them at an advantage to European men at the time who didn't own land. That's my understanding. Sorry. Nowadays, as best as I can tell, these Māori wards in the local government are being used as a second-rate alternative to people actually turning up to vote on election day. And in this district, it seems to me that Māori are hardly a small minority that should require special representation. No disrespect to the current Māori ward councillors, but I would like to know what positive outcomes have come about that couldn't have happened anyway. As an alternative approach, I think it is very simple. Elections are all about participation, both as voters and candidates. It is a basic fact of life that anything taken for granted doesn't get appreciated, and democracy for Māori voters is no exception to that. Thank you.
Bill Clark, with the removal of the 4 well-beings from the Local Government Act, would you see this impacting on municipal amenities, and if so, how?
Madam Chairman, I did not receive these questions in my house, so I would like to comment on a couple of issues then, if that's okay with you.
Yes, if
One is about the Māori wards.
Okay, go ahead and do that one then.
So the question of the Māori wards has become a controversial situation in our town. The long-term plan is what I want us to refer to, which was adopted by the council for the next 10 years. And inside that it says, tangata whenua are acknowledged and respected. We acknowledge tangata whenua and the ancestral connection to the whenua. Hapu and iwi are acknowledged in distinct communities with our own needs and aspirations. We will engage early and actively listen to and integrate the ideas of tangata whenua in our project planning, implementation, and decision making. My question to you is it not better that we have representation from people who understand things Māori to be at the table when you are making the decisions, or do we just pop them in for meetings and pop them out? Thank you.
Thank you. Nicola, regarding the recent controversy over the JMA, what is your view of the proposal to extend the scope to cover Taupo Moana? Please explain.
Thanks, Catherine. I think Kevin did a great job of explaining that, actually. I was listening and thinking I was in agreement with him. I will say my view as well. I think extending the scope of the Joint Management Act to include Taupo Moana, Lake Taupo, was sensible, because you can't realistically be talking about the health of the waterways that feed into the lake without also considering the lake itself. They're part of one system, and treating them separately doesn't make sense to me. That said, I acknowledge that some of the scope went further than a number of councillors and public were expecting, and for that reason I supported the decision to pause the JMA and let the new council consider it fully with public as well. It's important, a really important topic to not rush. We need to make sure both the community and mana whenua feel confident in the process and clear about what's agreed to. Thank you.
Barry, do you believe rates should be capped to the rate of inflation? If so, why and how?
Okay, thanks, Catherine. Yes, in principle, I'd really love to agree with this, but I do have concerns, very real concerns. And among those concerns, I'm also very keen to see how central government addresses this legislation and its planning. Because my concern is that comparing CPI cost of everyday's goods like milk, eggs and butter with the costs that councils face, such as concrete, asphalt and technical engineers, doesn't always line up. That's one risk. If these differences aren't accounted for, councils risk being forced into deferring maintenance, delaying infrastructure projects or cutting back on services. That would only cost us more in the long run. On top of that, we also need to consider other factors, and it's been mentioned, like additional regulations and higher standards from central government or further changes imposed by them that add pressure to council budgets outside of council's control. There's also a risk that capping rates could negatively impact on council's credit rating. So if elected, I will do this: push to keep rates under control, aim for lower inflation level, aim for lower levels of costs, and ensure Taupo gets real value for money on essential services and infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. Oops. Steve, Steve Mananui, do you support retaining Māori wards as a way to uphold Te Tiriti o Waitangi and ensure tangata whenua representation? And if not, what alternative approach would you propose?
Got a bit more time, so ko Tongariro kei ronga ko Taupo Nui a te kei raro, ko au e tūwhakaiti nei a tēnā tātou katoa. I have proud tūwhare tō whakapapa, but I am standing on the general ward because I want to represent the entire community. That being said, I support Māori wards because they ensure equity and they help us to maintain and build strong iwi partnerships, which have already been talked about. Very big part of our rohe. Certainly a lot of the council work revolves in and around maintaining and making sure we have these platforms and strong partnerships. So yes, I do support them. Te Tiriti, I also agree it's about kotahitanga. okay, which is bringing people together, not splitting us apart.
Thank you. Steve Punter, did you agree or disagree with the recent decision by TDC regarding local water done well, and why or why not? How does the TDC budget for overcapacity for water pipes and sewage in view of the increase in residential and industrial construction and the increased numbers through tourism?
Wonderful question, and I wish I'd been given that question in advance so that I could prepare for it. So I really can't.
Excuse me.
There are others who have not
Yes,
received the
but
questions
if you all
as well.
received the first letter and responded, then you should have received
I was
the
waiting
second.
for the second one. I don't want to have an argument with
No,
you here, but I did not
absolutely
get
not.
the questions. I'll tell you what I will do. I'll answer the one on Maori wards, because that's one that
All
I
right,
do know
fine.
about. All right. So my standpoint on Maori wards is that they are divisive, they're separatist, they're undemocratic, and they're unnecessary. One person, one vote. That's how it should be done. We already have councillors sitting around the table. We don't need to separate them by race. Democracy is a thing that is 2,500 years old, and the word itself comes from demos, meaning the people, and krasos, meaning rule. It doesn't say anything about some people ruling more equally than others. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think it should be equal representation around the council without minority groups having undue influence or special treatment. That is me. Thank you.
Rachel, do you believe rates should be capped to the rate of inflation? If so, why and how?
Well, as has been alluded to, I think rates capping is imminent, it's coming, but the devil is in the detail. My concern with capping it in line with household inflation, or CPI, is that CPI reflects the costs of goods and services typically consumed by households. So we're talking food, transport, clothing. Council costs are infrastructure related: roads, wastewater, community facilities and regulatory services. If asphalt or concrete goes up 15 to 20%, which it has done in recent times, but CPI only goes up 3%, council still has to maintain those roads and those footpaths. We don't have that ability to cap in line with household inflation, in my opinion. It presents a risk of underfunding or deferring maintenance, and then it's a big catch-up later. There are perfect examples up and down the country of that right now. You could argue we've had a political rates cap under the previous system anyhow, because none of us up here are running for council to put your rates up. None of us want to do that. So, you know, Wellington, perfect example, waters, in a terrible state. And that's the risk of capping in line with household inflation instead of in line with construction or civil inflation. And I believe...
Good. And Tweedy, do you support retaining Māori wards as a way to uphold Te Tiriti o Waitangi and ensure tangata whenua representation? And if not, what alternative approach would you propose?
I've got those as two separate questions here. Treaty of Waitangi is something that should be upheld for everybody, and the Bill of Rights are for everybody. The Maori wards, this year the public, you'll decide whether we're going to continue with them or not. It's not my decision. Personally, I believe Taupo could do better if it was divided into 4 rural communities, such as Hawke's Bay is. You could have Mangakino, Taupo East, Turangi you've already got, and you could do with a western access to cover the people that live in that area as well. Keep the 4 town councillors and let everybody stand for election based on their own merit. The best person for the job should be chosen regardless of race or creed. I don't like the division. The representation should be to unite all of us and not divide us. Thank you.
Belinda, did you agree or disagree with the recent decision by TDC regarding local water done well, and why not? And it also then, rather than reading it all through again, how do you budget for the increasing population, sewage, the growth in industrial and residential tourism?
Thank you, Catherine. So I think we have done the right thing. There is a lot that's coming in the next 2 years. What is central government going to do in this area? What is really coming? And it's been alluded to earlier. I think Kevin actually did a great job of answering this question. And we have gone to the point of we've got quite a good balance. We are in relatively good shape around water, but there's an enormous amount coming. So how do we fund that? And it cannot be just through rates. I'm looking forward to hearing there's been some speakers allude to other income streams or other projects on the go, other people being approached. That's exciting, but we need to see some detail and we need to know. And that, I think, is a really important part if you're a councillor, is to start engaging with everyone who is voting. The voters of 18 and above and the ones that are coming that are 18 and under. We need to take the whole community with us in communicating on this issue. So I do think we've done the right thing. I think it's very pragmatic. We've started and it's reviewed in 2 years' time. So I think we've also got really clear balance sheet separation. So whilst we're saying we're keeping it in-house, it is still very clearly an entity on its own. In terms of, we do talk about growth as supposed to fund growth in terms of the extra infrastructure required for our tourism and for our extra growth.
I'm sorry, Mark, if I'll put your question up, but if everybody got the first letter and responded to the second one, then it's surprising you didn't get the questions.
Okay,
So-
I have very grave reservations. I think that the concept of Maori wards is trying to address a problem that in this district is not there. The Tuwharetoa population, the percentage of the population of this town is 44%. Sorry, 24%. So they could, if they wished, put 4 councillors on up here and get them elected and have a very severe influence on who's the mayor of this team. What really concerns me is a ripple of contempt going through the whole community about this particular issue. Now, don't get me wrong, I had three years working with Danny Loughnan, and he's far, far smarter than I am, and he's even far, far bigger than I am. However, I believe the local EV could put up good candidates and support them and get all the representation they wanted on the council. Thank you.
Julie, you get the question about the local water done well. Do you agree or disagree with the recent decision by TDC regarding local water done well, and why or why not? And how does the TDC budget for overcapacity for water pipes and sewage in the view of the increase in residential and industrial construction and the increased numbers through tourism?
Thank you, Catherine. The council responded to feedback of submitters to the options available. I submitted to this. 74% of submission feedback was in favour of keeping local water done well in-house. The council chose this option. Our water services comprise 51% of our CapEx spend, that is 124 million of debt. We benefit from sharing in the scale of being a shareholder in the Waikato regional scheme. This arrangement is reviewed in 2 years' time. By this time, much of the government legislative reform will have been unveiled and the impact on local water will be better understood. The Water Asset Management Plan and Long-Term Plan of Taupō District Council address the funding to increase capacity and move with infrastructure replacement requirements as the demands on our district grow. Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie, regarding the recent controversy over the JMA, what is your view of the proposal to extend the scope to cover Taupo Moana?
Given that I didn't get the question, but I can answer this question. So from an iwi perspective, I just want to share something with you. I've been part of the JMA journey for the last 14 years. I started the journey to get these underway with councils. I've been co-chairing with JMAs for about 14 years with many different councils. And I have to say, Taupo's probably been the most difficult. It's been the most difficult because it's the understanding of what a JMA is. I go from town to town, co-chair. With Waikato Regional Council, we have no problems whatsoever. Why? Because we know what we do for a JMA. From an iwi perspective, it's about collaboration. It's not about using your rates, it's about sharing. It's about providing that knowledge around the table and sharing the costs. It's not anything that I hear out there. You know, I sit back and I think, where do people get this information from? When you sit at our table, it's about sharing. So JMA to me is about using your costs and being smart. That's what it is. That's what works for me, and that's how I work it. Kia ora.
Thank you, Deb. Kia ora. So, Deb, do you support retaining Māori wards as a way to uphold Te Tiriti o Waitangi and ensure tangata whenua representation? And if not, what alternative approach would you propose?
Thank you, Catherine. We currently have 2 wards and I will continue to support them if elected. I can see how Māori wards could strengthen representation. The establishment of Māori wards is part of a broader effort to fulfil local government statutory obligations under the Local Government Act 2002, which mandates councils to provide opportunities for Māori to contribute to decision-making processes. In Taupō, Tū Whoretoa, Māori Trust Board has expressed support for Māori wards. Regardless of the vote outcome, the discussion underscores the ongoing dialogue about the best ways to honour the Treaty of Waitangi and ensure equitable representation for all communities. As a gay woman, I will champion policies that protect rights, celebrates diversity and builds understanding, because when everyone feels they belong, we all move together. I believe every person deserves to live, work and thrive, fear of discrimination or exclusion.
Oops, hang on. Danny, regarding the recent controversy over the JMA, what is your view of the proposal to extend the scope to cover Taupo Moana?
Wow, thank you for this question. So Kevin's covered quite a lot of it, but what a lot of people don't know is that John Key's government in 2010 brought in the legislation and specifically provided for an extension. If you want to protect the Waikato River, you need to protect the lake that flows into it as well. What a lot of people don't realise is that there's already a JMA in place between Ngāti Tūwharetoa and the Waikato Regional Council. This JMA has been in place since 2018, and this JMA includes includes Lake Taupō, the tributaries that flow into it, and what flows into the river. So I'm not aware of any, controversy in terms of that that JMA. You can read the minutes. I'm the co-chair with Pamela Story on Regional Council. And you'll see that we talk about bus charges and trucks falling into the lake and plan change, one of all things. So, you've had a JMA since 2018. It includes the lake and the tributaries, and nothing happened.
Thank you. So Wahine, do you believe rates should be capped to the rate of inflation? If so, why and how?
Sorry, I didn't get this question, so I'm going to use this time to speak about Māori wards instead, if that's all right.
All right, please go ahead.
I want to quickly talk about something. Equity versus equality, whānau, whakarongo mai. They're not the same. Equality is giving everyone the same thing. Equity is giving everyone what they need to have a fair chance. Māori wards are about equity. It's about fairness, not just the sameness. Just as rural communities once needed their own wards to be heard, it's the same for Māori wards. And also, can we consider accessibility? The reality, this is the reality, is that we aren't always equally resourced to access the education and information that we need to enable us to participate in these systems and these processes confidently. For some of us, English isn't even our first language, so you can only imagine what systemic processes look like to those of us who don't even understand them. So when we talk about Māori wards whānau, I want you to all consider the perspectives that are given from Māori. We support them, and we need you fellas to get on board to support us. Kia ora.
Right, we now have some additional questions for two of the mayoral candidates, and you will each have 1 minute to respond. Actually, I think you should both each have 2 minutes to respond, timekeepers, if you wouldn't mind. So firstly, for Zane Cousins, and this is the question that was submitted. In 2017, you resigned from your elected position on the Taupō District Council, saying, continually throwing your energy and common sense into a void has become a redundant exercise for me, and I'm truly exhausted by it all. I feel I need to move my name away from the organisation. So the submitter asked, what has changed since then that makes you confident you are now ready to serve a full term as mayor? So the question is, Zane, if you win this election, will you be stepping away from your real estate business as the role of mayor as a full-time one? In addition, will you complete your term, unlike your last attempt at council, when you resigned mid-term, causing a very expensive by-election?
Firstly, so I'll just answer the second one. So we need to remember that in 2017, I wasn't the first elected member to stand down. Someone had already signalled that they were leaving, and I joined their coattails. And also in 2019, the next triennium, 3 elected members resigned. It speaks to a problem. The same reason I left is the same reason I stand today: leadership. Without good leadership, this is what happens. And it speaks to a greater problem, losing 5 elected members in the space of 3 years. Thank you.
And John? You mentioned last Tuesday that you would not use a council credit card for expenses. So do you intend to pay all accommodation, other expenses such as travel incurred in the role of mayor, or was that just a politician's promise?
Back on it. Yeah, for those that didn't hear, I'm going to use David's credit card instead in this term. No, seriously, I don't intend to use the council credit card. I'll use my own card and make an expense claim at the end of the month or whenever is the appropriate time. Happy to answer any other questions.
That was the question that was put to you, John. Right, there was another one that was aimed at Kevin Taylor. If voted in for mayor, how would you connect with councillors so that there is unity within the council? And do you intend reducing staff numbers, bearing in mind that the size of the Taupo ward remains fairly constant? I would disagree with that final statement, however.
So we're talking council staff numbers.
Yes.
So first of all, if I'm successful in my mayoral bid, each of the successful council candidates for all of the wards can expect a phone call as soon as the results are ratified. That will be followed up by a face-to-face meeting, and we will have a meeting of minds and a conversation about what their expectations are and what their skills are. I've spent my whole adult life, as I said earlier, working in teams. I'm a team player, and for the last 20 years of my career, I was a team leader in some pretty hostile environments, including the South Pacific and in Afghanistan. In terms of staff numbers, you have to remember council employs one person, and that's the chief executive. It is that person's role to employ everyone else. Council, the governance, has oversight of that, and we will look at that very carefully. But in terms of any wastage, I'm open to having that pointed out. You also got to remember, if we're going to reduce staff numbers, you can cut that, but it also means reducing service delivery. So that would be a consultation with all of you folk. If you want staff numbers reduced and they're producing an essential service, what is it you don't want? Because that's what you'd need to decide. Thanks.
I tell you what, we'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back for the quick fire questions. And I do have 2 more questions, one for David. No, one for David, that's it. Do you want to take the 5-minute break now, or do we do, I'll tell you what, we'll do the one for David first. So, David, you've been involved for 3 years with the increased costs and debt. How do you plan to reverse this trend? And they also asked, what do you consider to be your most significant achievement for our community in your last 3 terms?
Oh, thank you very much, Catherine. Can I just talk about the debt first? We do not borrow money for operational expenses. We're not borrowing for staff costs or buying the groceries. Rather, we just borrow money to build things. All the debt is intergenerational debt, which spreads the cost load. Just remember, we've got that $90 million investment fund that you guys own. The alternative would be for all of today's ratepayers to fund all the costs, which would be unaffordable and unfair on today's ratepayers. We are also shareholders of the local government funding agency, which is actually a trading bank, and we borrow most of our money from them at a very low interest rate, approximately 2 to 3%. So I believe we've still got a lot of debt room that we can borrow on, but we'll only borrow it to build things. Most achievable thing over the last 3 years, I think, has been unity. The district has been calm, clear and concise, and I must admit I'm very proud of our events that we bring in, which a lot of people benefit off. But we must start the planning or continue the planning for the new bridge. So that's my project the next 3 years, to try and get that underway and get that clog out of Spa Road. So thank you very much.
Actually, we are getting quite close to the end, so I think if we just go through with these quick fire questions, where we will start at the end with Zane, ask the same question of everybody, and they answer with either a yes or a no. That's all. No explanations, nothing further. We'll see how we go with that. Okay? So, this is the question for all of you, and you'll pass the microphone along to the next person if they don't have one.
Yes.
So, it's Zane first. Are you able to allocate the demands on your time necessary to fulfill your role effectively as an elected member?
Yes.
John?
Same question.
Same question for everybody.
Absolutely.
It's a yes from me.
And a yes from me.
And a yes from me.
Probably.
Yes.
Maybe yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. For sure.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
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 Right. So, now the next question. Okay. Right, this is the next question, which I'm sure there may be different answers. Do you now or in the past have any association, links, ties, or financial or administrative support from Voices for Freedom? Excuse me, I have asked people to please respect anybody who's speaking, and that means right now. So, Zane?
No.
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 Yes, I'm linked with them, but no, I've had no financial aid from them.
So you're linked with whom? Okay, thank you.
I've met with people from Voices for Freedom also, because everybody deserves representation.
Thank you.
No, I do not.
Quickly Googling here, but no.
No.
I received their emails because I'm interested in everyone's point of views.
No.
I support what they stand for and get up to.
No.
Best of my knowledge, no.
No. Correction to me, I think a few of them drink in the hotels, so maybe that's a financial contribution, but really, that was for services rendered. No.
I agree with Rachel that everyone's voices needs to be heard, but no, I'm not affiliated.
Do you have any involvement or long-term commitment between elections with social services or sports outside of council? Nobody got these questions. These have come in and asked to be yes/no questions from the community. Okay, candidates, sit down now and we'll start again from Zane. Do you have any involvement or long-term commitment between elections with social services or sports outside of council?
Yes. I do wonder about the questioning though, because it's like, aren't they more important?
It's a yes/no. John?
I am scared to answer that because it's too wide.
Is it yes or no?
It's a yes for 30 plus years, multiple not-for-profits in the social sector.
Okay,
Yes, involved in sport.
thank you.
Yes, because I get a pension.
Not really.
Sports, yes. Have been for 40-something years in sports.
Yes, sport.
Yes, sport.
Yes, same. Yes for sport.
I serve on community boards and will continue to do so.
Yes, social services, and yes, sport.
Yes, because I'm on the pension.
Clearly sport.
Yes, both social services and sport, believe it or not.
Yes to not-for-profit governance, sitting on boards, and yes to a lifelong commitment to sport.
Yes to social services boards. There's a few.
Yes to sports.
Yes to social services.
Yes to sport.
Right, next question. Do you support the continuance of
Hell
Māori
yeah.
wards?
Hell yes.
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 Oh, that's a patsy question, that is. I've already expressed my opinion.
Would
Yes.
People's choice.
I agree. People's choice.
support and agree with the referendum when it comes.
It's
Yes.
supposed to be a yes/no answer, please.
Yes.
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 Not really.
I gave my answer on Tuesday night, so if I followed that, it would be a no.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I believe in equal opportunities.
The will of the people. I cannot.
Zane, yes or no?
We cannot keep going down this road of just repeat.
Zane, yes or no?
I have my answer.
Right, next question. Remember, everybody, these are questions that have been sent in from the community. So, right, where's the microphone? With Zane or down at this end? Have you signed the Ratepayers Protection Pledge? Oh. Have you signed the Ratepayers Protection Pledge?
Do people even know what that is? Do you care? Oh, okay. Next question.
All right. Would you support the Taupō District Council leaving the local government New Zealand organisation? Turn on the microphone, John.
Can you, John said he didn't know. Zane, do you want to answer?
Yeah, I do. I think, oh, yes or no? Yes, there you go.
Support leaving? No.
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 Yes, absolutely.
So it's 2 words. I don't know.
Yeah, I would want more information too. I don't want to say yes or no at this stage. Thank you.
With the information at hand, no.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on this one.
Me too, need more info.
I'm open to the discussion and debate to be had.
I would like to know if we can leave it.
Definitely requires more information. Yes to the debate.
These are not yes and no questions. That's a complex question to ask.
Mark, would you say yes or no?
Endorsing recent comments. More information, please.
Agree. No.
More information.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Do you support council funding for sports, concerts and motorsports events run by commercial entities?
Yes.
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 Yes, within reason.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, where there's good value.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes.
On a case-by-case basis, yes.
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 Yes and no for commercial.
Yes, depends if it's cash or in kind. Because you can't, that's a loaded question.
Okay, next question. Do you support more cycleway infrastructure and shared pathways? No, hang on, it's the candidates that are supposed to be answering here.
The audience is answering for you, Catherine.
Okay. More cycleway infrastructure.
I believe in biking and cycling, but I think we may have enough for now, and it's got to be about balance and affordability, simple as that.
Okay, but yes, no, please. John?
Yes and no.
Within reason, yes.
Yes, if someone else is paying.
I don't know about these questions, but I support supporting cycleways.
Yes, but for value for money projects, if we can get them going.
Yes.
Not at the detriment to businesses, but yes, in theory. Again, not a yes/no question.
Yes, where there's value for money.
Yes to the kaupapa, but not at the wrong expense of rates.
I think we have enough already.
It's a little further down the list of priorities in my book.
Yes, if and when we have the money to do it.
Yes, contingent on money available.
No.
Yes to the kaupapa, but it feels like a nice to do.
Yes, because Waikato Regional Council pay it.
Yes, because Waikato Regional Council pay. We pay 3% towards cycleways out of our transport budget.
Yes, because Waikato Regional Council are paying.
Yes, because what they said.
Okay, should the council provide social housing for the homeless?
No.
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 Not on the face of it, but it should support a solution.
We have to do something, but I don't know what it is.
I agree with Julie. It's a no, but we need to lead a conversation to fix it.
Needs to be discussed and sorted out.
No.
I grew up in council accommodations, so my answer is yes.
No.
No, central government issue.
Absolutely.
Yes, central government issue. I mean, so no, central government.
Just needs further, investigation. It's not an easy solution.
Yeah, on the face of it, no.
I'm going to say no, but so far these questions we've got on yes/no answers are really
Move on,
unanswerable
please.
because you can't qualify it.
No central government, but pensioners, yes.
The bill before Parliament says no. So no.
I say no, but you can't leave people on the street. You've got to find a solution.
No central government issue.
Hang on. Do you support a visitor's bed tax to ease the unsustainable rates burden on the district's ratepayers? So a visitor's bed tax, no qualifications, just yes or no, please.
No, yes, but Auckland and Queenstown.
No buts.
Auckland and Queenstown have tried this with government. They've
Zane,
been turned down.
Zane,
so we can say yes.
We are not asking for
I
a
gather that,
diatribe,
Catherine.
thank you. It's a yes or no answer.
Yes.
It works in Europe, yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Maybe.
Yes, if you can take it across the Airbnb sector as well.
No discussion, yes or no?
That's not a yes/no question.
Yes.
I think there's a better way.
No.
Yes, the Airbnb comment.
Yes.
Yes, but be wary with the execution.
No explanations?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Should climate change be the joint responsibility of district, regional and national government?
Yes.
Yes.
climate change is a central government issue,
Yes
but
or
regional
no?
council do plan
Yes
for
or no?
climate adaptation. So yes for Waikato Regional Council adaptation.
Yes or no, Anne?
Yes.
An awareness.
Yes.
We've got to work together, yes.
No, no climate change. It's all a hoax.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, everyone needs to work together.
Yes, especially for resilience issues.
Yes, we're all in it.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes to central government.
I agree with Rachel. Thank you.
Okay, next question. Do you think it is okay to release public excluded information before the embargo is lifted? In other words, is it okay to be a whistleblower? Or releasing confidential information before it has been let out to the public officially?
I'd like to say yes, but I'm going to say no.
To no.
Absolute no.
I'm tempted to say if they'd give it to me before the embargo, then I might use it, but no.
Absolutely yes, with good justification.
No.
Doesn't sound ideal.
No.
Yep, it's a no.
It's a no from me.
No.
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 Yes.
No, because I don't want us to be sued.
Yeah, and if I'm going to be a lawyer, I better say no.
Fluoridation of Taupo's water supply is legally mandated by the Ministry of Health. Do you think councils should break the law based on your personal belief?
No.
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 Mandates are illegal.
No.
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 I think if it reflects the will of the people, then absolutely yes, that would justify.
Move on, please.
breaking
Yes
it.
or no?
No.
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 We can't break the law, no.
Okay, this is the final question for the yes/no. Do candidates consider that their political opinions should be made as individuals only and not purporting to be representative of the district's population?
Well, yes, that's already the rule of council as part of standing orders.
That's right.
It's a yes from me.
Yeah, I'm with Zane on that one.
Yes.
Yes, as an individual.
I don't really know what the question means.
What he meant was individual, yes.
As individuals, I believe, yes.
As an individual, yes.
Same as an individual, yes.
Yep. The same as me, individual.
As an individual, yes.
Only as an individual, yes. The oath states that we vote for the community, not just for ourselves.
Yeah, individual, yes.
Yes and no.
Individual, yes.
I don't understand the question. I'm for the community.
No, I represent my community.
I don't get the question either.
What do candidates consider? Political opinions, keep them to yourself as individuals. You represent the community.
No, that's not. Never mind. Okay, I do believe that these candidates deserve a very big round of applause. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the evening. A big thank you to all candidates for your input. You've certainly provided us with more information about yourselves and your capabilities to help us to choose wisely. And you also provided some entertainment. So our best wishes for the election. Again, thank you Ian and Toastmasters for managing the timing so efficiently. Thank you to Taupō District Council and to Great Lakes Centre staff, Fai, Nick, Finn and Liam, for your willing help and assistance. You're awesome. My grateful thanks to all of you who have submitted questions. Time restraints have meant that not all could be included, and some similar questions were amalgamated. We've done the best we can with the volume and range of questions that were received. A huge thank you to all of you who've attended tonight. It's vital that we have the opportunity to hear how our candidates intend to represent us in our district. The onus is on us to choose wisely, to safeguard the governance and future of the Taupō District, which after all is our own paradise. You may wish to take the opportunity to speak with individual candidates in the lobby before you leave. So candidates, you can mix and mingle. Just a moment, Mark, thank you. And finally, a vote of thanks to Turangi Rotary for your support this evening, and to Lake Taupo Rotary Club, which contributes so much to the Taupō District, both economically with events such as Cycle Challenge and community events such as the Across the Lake Swim. Rotary also assists and supports students and young people through grants and scholarships. And a reminder to you all, new members are always welcome. My personal thanks to John Williamson, Chintu Contractor, and Rosemary Crisp for your assistance and support in pulling everything together for this event. I'm so grateful to you three. You're amazing. Thank you all again. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Ka kite anō koutou, po Mārie.
Clearly the evening would have happened without the candidates and the great attendance, but I want a special acknowledgement to Catherine Fagan as a moderator for actually bringing us this evening together. So big thanks to Catherine as well. Thank you.